Let's go back to our top stories this morning. Comair, of course, as we've reported, has succumbed to pressure from customers and some of its crew and grounded its Boeing 737 MAX 8. And that's the plane, of course, the same plane that crashed belonging to Ethiopian Airlines last Sunday. But earlier, Comair had said that it was not required to do so by either regulatory authorities or the manufacturer. But Chinese, Ethiopian, Indonesian, and other counterparts in Singapore have also just grounded this jet. Now, this move follows that deadly, devastating Ethiopian Airlines crash that killed 157 people. Well, in South Africa now we know there was one of these planes and it's been grounded. To discuss this further, we're joined by aviation economist Dr. Joachim Vermooten. Dr. Vermooten, good morning. It's Dan Moyane. I guess it is the right thing for Comair to have done, even if it was not asked by any of the regulatory authorities to ground its Boeing 737 MAX 8 plane.
Yes, I think it's a precautionary measure. The American FAA has last night issued a continued airworthiness notification. So it is a precautionary measure, but it is not a necessary step.
Okay, what's an airworthiness precaution? What is that?
Well, this is a aircraft first has to be type-rated in the country where it's manufactured, and that's under the control of the FAA. I think they have responded because they feel that there's not an imminent safety risk in the light of a number of countries, CAA or DCAs, that have actually grounded that type of aircraft.
Okay.
So it's just a notification that the aircraft is still airworthy.
Okay, we understand there's about more than 370 Boeing 737 MAXs in operation with 47 airlines across the world. We had one here in South Africa, from what you hear from Comair. Other countries like China, of course, Ethiopia now, and elsewhere, they've decided to go that route of precaution route. But you say it is not necessary. Why?
Well, all the official certification authorities are happy with the aircraft at this time, but I think from a cautionary point of view, Comair has taken a decision to not deploy the aircraft in the schedules at this time.
Yeah, and I'm sure, I mean, people who fly with Comair would be happy to hear that, especially on the back of this devastating crash in Ethiopia, which is still fresh in the minds of many.
Yeah, but remember, the investigation will take a while to actually be completed. There are similarities with the Lion Air background, but that final report hasn't been issued yet. So there's nothing wrong with the aircraft at the moment, and it's actually a very nice aircraft to fly in.
Yeah, well, I mean, if you tell people that, some people might say, well, we know it crashed. You've mentioned Lion Air. That happened in October last year. There was another Boeing 737 MAX 8 flying from Norway rather, in December to Iran. It had to turn back and it was okay. And from the initial reports of this Ethiopian airline crash that we've had is that the pilot did communicate that there was some trouble and he was cleared to go back and land in Addis Ababa. I think it's very little comfort to say it's a nice aircraft and it's okay when it has just crashed again.
Well, there are certainly difficulties in the computerized flight management system interfacing with the pilot responses to uncouple it. But time still have to show what the problems were exactly. With all new aircraft, there are normal teething problems, and the airlines and the manufacturers are able to actually resolve that very quickly.